Welcome to Bernitsa's Law Podcast, the podcast where we dive into the latest developments in law regulation. I'm Sotiris Kolelis, and today we're discussing blockchain from a lawyer's perspective. In recent years, we hear a lot about blockchain and cryptocurrencies, but for many of us, this topic remains foggy. This series of podcasts will help us navigate the sector of blockchain, cryptoassets, and tokenization, and better understand the challenges it presents not only for clients and lawyers, but also for regulators and policymakers. We have with us Dr. Anastasia Mallerou, an expert in payments and financial services, who has been following developments and working on blockchain for quite a few years.
Thank you, Sotiris. It is my pleasure to be here. I hope this podcast series will help our listeners demystify blockchain, tokenization, and their legal implications.
To understand cryptos and tokenization, we must first familiarize ourselves with the underlying technology, which is blockchain. The first episode will therefore be an introduction to blockchain. So let's start with the basics. When we talk about blockchain, what exactly do we mean?
Blockchain became widely known after 2009 as the underlying technology for Bitcoin. Since then, it has been used for more applications. Some of these applications are cryptocurrencies, of course. Today, there are more than 20,000 cryptocurrencies in the world. Similarly, CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies, are digital money issued by central banks and pegged to the value of the country's currency. Smart contracts, which are self-executing agreements incorporated in software. NFTs, these are non-fungible digital representations of property rights on real-world or digital world assets stored and traded on a blockchain. Metaverse, which is a virtual reality world consisting of virtual spaces in which people can socialize, interact, or transact. And DAOs, the decentralized autonomous organizations, which are blockchain-based organizational structures among members pursuing the same goals. The use of blockchain is continually increasing and expanding in a wide array of activities and sectors. Trade, shipping, transportation, public administration, health services, education, art, agriculture, energy, just to name a few. Blockchain is not just another technology. Many talk of a revolution that is equivalent to that of the internet, or even, if we go back in time, to that of the telephone or the railways. The rapid expansion of blockchain is associated with its main technical features. These include transparency, security, anonymity, immutability, cost efficiency, and, above all, trust.
These sound very promising. How are they achieved?
Blockchain is a subset, the most important subset, of the so-called DLTs, the distributed ledger technologies. It is distinguished from this wider category by the use of enhanced cryptography. If I am to give a quick description of blockchain, I would say that it is a digital platform or database used by its participants to safely record and store data. We can think of it as the digital equivalent of traditional ledgers, on which transactions are recorded on a chronological order. Information, transactions, data, etc. are added to the chain in the form of files called blocks. The ledger is distributed to a network of computers, the nodes, so that all participants, who usually don't even know each other and may be located anywhere on the globe, have at any given time an identical copy of the chain. Blocks are added to the chain following a consensus mechanism. They bear a hash and timestamp so that once added, they cannot be altered or deleted. If needed, a new block will be added with the information that, for example, the declaration XYZ previously made is now being revoked. To sum up, trust in blockchain is the result of its core technical and operational characteristics.
Blockchain is often referred to as a disruptive technology. Do you agree with this statement?
Absolutely. Blockchain is indeed a disruptive technology. Its most revolutionary and disruptive aspect is decentralization or disintermediation. To understand this notion, let's take the example of a highly intermediated sector, the sector of financial services. As we know, financial intermediation is essential to all economic activity and to the operation of financial markets. Banks, investment firms, or payment settlement systems, these are all typical financial intermediaries. They provide the technical infrastructure, the governance framework, and of course, trust. On the other hand, such intermediaries in general increase the cost of transactions, create a dependency for market participants, and being a single point of failure, they render the whole ecosystem vulnerable to external attacks. Blockchain introduces a different disintermediated model. It allows a direct peer-to-peer communication without the need of a trusted third party. As we said, all transactions are registered on the digital ledger, which is immediately available to all participants. This makes fraudulent attacks rather difficult, as all nodes should be attacked simultaneously. Although not impossible technically, we understand that this is much harder than attacking one single point, that would be the intermediary, and more costly. So we see how blockchain has the potential to really disrupt financial markets. Due to decentralization, it can dramatically and drastically change the rules of the market as we know them today. In a similar manner, blockchain revolutionizes other sectors in which it is used.
You mentioned trust without intermediaries and many benefits. But are there any risks associated with blockchain?
That's a good question. Despite its great advantages, it is a fact that blockchain also presents drawbacks and risks. For example, it can be abused for illegal activities. Concentration of computational power may lead to an internal attack by participants possessing more than half of the computing power. This is the 51% risk. The consensus process requires high energy consumption, and complexity, limited interoperability, and legal uncertainty may also hinder full exploitation of its benefits.
Turning to the legal aspects, what kind of questions does blockchain raise for lawyers and regulators?
Blockchain applications give rise to legal questions for which we don't always have a safe answer. It is important that not only lawyers or regulators, but also users, be aware of this. For example, jurisdictional issues arise from the international and extraterritorial character of blockchain, while other issues relate to network governance or dispute resolution and enforcement mechanisms. Compliance with existing legislation also poses challenges. In the field of personal data protection, for example, blockchain immutability impedes compliance with the GDPR right to be forgotten, while the legitimacy of transborder data transmission may be questioned.
Can we unpack some concrete legal issues that clients are asking about?
Certainly. Although our legal system has the tools to respond to many of the challenges posed, some novel legal issues also emerge. Indicatively, do cryptocurrencies constitute money? What happens if the owner of a digital wallet loses access to the wallet? What is the legal nature of smart contracts? Do they qualify as document or contracts in the legal sense of these terms? Can they implement legal concepts like force majeure? How does tokenization relate to our traditional property law? Are initial coin offerings equivalent to the IPOs, to the initial public offerings? Do DAOs constitute a new form of companies? Do they have legal personality? Are their members liable for breach of law by the DAO? And so on.
Given the cross-border nature of blockchain, how is the international legal landscape evolving?
International cooperation is necessary for the comprehensive coverage of the above issues. Despite a certain degree of cooperation regarding, for example, interoperability, we are still far from a homogeneous international legal framework for blockchain. The absence of regulation, limited scope of national laws, if such laws are at all adopted, and fragmentation in existing legislation result in a significant lack of legal clarity and certainty.
In the next episodes, we will discuss many of these issues. Thank you, Anastasia, for such a comprehensive introduction.
It's been a pleasure.
Stay tuned for our next episodes in our series. If you would like to find out more information about this matter or any other legal matter you may have, visit www.pernichaslaw.com or reach out to us directly.
This is Bernitsa's Law Podcast, your window to the latest legal developments in Greece. This podcast is intended to provide general information and is not meant to constitute a comprehensive analysis of the matters or to be relied upon as legal advice. It is not meant to create a lawyer-client relationship. Legal and other professional advice should be sought before applying any of the information in this podcast to a specific